Toto Wolff might have joined Formula One's infamous Piranha Club a little later than the old sharks, but don't let the new badge fool you. The man knows how to stir the waters. Back in 2022, when ground effect cars made their dramatic return, and Mercedes found themselves fumbling the tech test, Toto didn't reach for a rulebook, he reached for a megaphone. Playing the safety card to the FIA, Wolff's cries felt less about driver well-being and more like a cleverly disguised ploy to level the playing field after their silver arrow turned out to be more paper plane than fighter jet. From his viewpoint, the W13 wasn't just a step behind. It was tripping over itself compared to its front-running rivals. So what's a team boss to do? Nudge the FIA for regulation tweaks that just might shake the competitive order. And that's exactly what Toto did. But Christian Horner, never one to miss a punchline, fired back with the now iconic "change your car," a spicy line Netflix was all too happy to immortalize from that explosive team principal meeting in Canada. Fast forward to 2024, and Toto found himself blindsided by Lewis Hamilton's jaw-dropping switch to Ferrari, a move that sent seismic waves through the paddock. Mercedes, once the epitome of dominance, suddenly looked like a house with no roof in a rainstorm. While fans and critics swarmed around the team's fall from grace, Toto played another classic distraction card, this time in the form of a very public flirtation with Max Verstappen. And here's the twist, he didn't drop the act, even after Mercedes officially lined up teenage prodigy Kimi Antonelli to fill Hamilton's boots. Toto pressing Verstappen while locking in Antonelli. It's like inviting Max to dinner after already ordering dessert for someone else. But that's Toto, a strategist to the end, weaving drama like a man who knows exactly how to make noise when the silence gets uncomfortable. Unlike Red Bull, who enjoy the luxury of managing a talent conveyor belt with 4 F1 seats, Toto Wolff's Mercedes operation is playing musical chairs with only 2. And with both George Russell and Kimi Antonelli in the mix, someone's bound to be left without a cushion when the music stops. The teenage hotshot from Italy has been brought in on a 1-year deal, and Toto didn't exactly hide behind PR speak about it. According to him, this is just the Mercedes way: short contracts, minimal commitment, maximum flexibility. When pressed on why Kimi wasn't locked in for the long haul, Wolff leaned into precedent, casually name-dropping Lewis Hamilton's last deal as a template, 1+1, as if that worked out swimmingly. But let's not rewrite history. That so-called multi-year Hamilton deal was more smoke than fire. It technically guaranteed just a single season. And what did Lewis do? Walked away from Mercedes just weeks after putting pen to paper. Clearly he didn't think it was worth sticking around to see how that +1 played out. Funny enough, this short leash approach isn't new for Toto. Ask Valtteri Bottas. The man lived on annual renewals like a Netflix series that always ends on a cliffhanger. In 2023, Bottas even joked that joining Sauber meant finally escaping his 1-season sentence at Mercedes. His role? Be the backup dancer. If Hamilton stumbled, Bottas was there to clean up the mess and bank points like a reliable plan B. Now fast forward to 2025, and here's the kicker. George Russell, the guy Toto's marketing as the new team leader, also finds himself staring at a ticking contract clock. You'd expect Mercedes to lock him in with a golden pen by now, but Wolff's playing it cool, maybe too cool. The key advantage: seats at Ferrari and McLaren are tighter than Parc Fermé on Sunday, so unless George wants to race lawnmowers, Mercedes is still his best bet, for now. There's a growing sense in the paddock that Red Bull might finally cut ties with Dr. Helmut Marko and hit the brakes on their increasingly questionable junior driver program. If that happens, they could very well swing back to the tried and tested strategy of pairing Max Verstappen with an experienced no-nonsense teammate. And one of the names floating in the rumour mill? George Russell. That's right. Even though he and Max barely exchanged pleasantries after their tense Qatar fallout, stranger things have happened in Formula One's Game of Thrones. But if Toto Wolff is losing any sleep over it, he's doing an excellent job hiding it. Before this season even got going, he shrugged off the idea of Russell jumping ship, saying he sees no reason not to put his faith in George and Kimi Antonelli going forward. On the surface, that sounds reassuring, but dig a little deeper and you start asking, wait, does George really need to settle in? Isn't he already the guy Toto's calling the future of Mercedes? Or is the real concern how George and Kimi gel as teammates, with the veterans suddenly feeling the heat from the rookie wonder kid? That's where the logic feels like it's doing donuts. Why delay a contract if you've already picked your team leader? Unless, of course, this is another classic Wolff maneuver. Dangle the dream of a Mercedes resurgence in 2026, whisper sweet nothings about trust and patience, and keep all options open. Because let's face it, Mercedes doesn't have the financial firepower they did back in in 2014 when they ran riot under the last major engine rules shakeup. This time, everyone's working within the same cost cap: Ferrari, Honda, Audi, and even the newcomers. And no one really knows what the pecking order will look like once the new 2026 regulations drop. Power units might not even be the main differentiator anymore, with radical new chassis designs also in the mix. The whole grid could be reshuffled, and until Toto has a better read on where Mercedes stands in this soon-to-be scrambled field, you get the sense he's hedging his bets carefully. Dutch journalist Eric van Haren didn't pull any punches when asking the obvious: what exactly is Mercedes planning with George Russell? If they truly believed he was the next F1 megastar, surely they'd have secured him with a long-term contract by now. Instead, it feels like Mercedes is holding him at arm's length, while rival teams have already locked down their star drivers like prized assets in a high-stakes game of F1 Monopoly. And here's where the plot thickens. Whispers in the paddock suggest Toto Wolff waved a €100 million carrot in front of Max Verstappen to lure him over to Brackley. It paints a pretty clear picture. Toto might be hedging everything on Red Bull's current struggles with the RB21. If Verstappen decides he's had enough of the political circus and technical headaches, Wolff wants to be the first team boss sliding into his DMs. That means George, for now, is in a holding pattern, waiting, watching, and wondering if he's plan A or a very polite plan B. But there's a twist. If Max did jump ship to Mercedes, you'd better believe Red Bull would come knocking on George's door. For all the criticism, his reputation as a top-tier talent hasn't faded. In fact, many still call him Mr. Saturday, a nod to his qualifying heroics at Williams, where he'd take that midfield tractor and put it places it had no business being. Come Sunday, though, that magic often disappeared. He'd qualify like a lion and race like a lost tourist on the Autobahn. Even at Mercedes, that pattern hasn't fully vanished. Yes, Russell humiliated Hamilton in qualifying last season with a dominant 19-5 scoreline. That's no small feat. But across their 3 seasons together, it's Lewis who's consistently outscored him on Sundays. And 2024 was Hamilton's worst year ever. That stat alone casts a long shadow on George's claim to leadership. George Russell's F1 future strangely hinges on Max Verstappen's next move. If Max turns down Mercedes again, Russell will likely get another short-term multi-year deal, a 1+1 setup that feels more like a placeholder than full support. Despite Toto Wolff praising George as a top 2 driver and highlighting his double podium start to the season, there's still no long-term contract. Meanwhile, rookie Kimi Antonelli is getting all the buzz, and if Russell's that good, why is Mercedes still hesitating? Is George really Mercedes' future, or just the backup plan if Max says no again? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, goodbye for now.